People have always sought to understand the world around them and give an explanation for pretty much everything. The pantheon of Greek gods cover major and minor gods and spirits to explain everything from fertility to wine, anything that was important to them. Praying to multiple different deities isn't too common anymore, but you'll still meet plenty of people that say that something that happened to them is of a paranormal cause. Today, we'll be taking an in-depth look at 5 paranormal phenomena that people swear by. I'm not here to tell anyone what to believe and not believe. I just thought it would be good to give a fair shake of explaining these different phenomena through natural means. Imagine you're laying in bed in the middle of the night. You hear something from a distance that wakes you up. You slowly open your eyes and see everything in your room like normal, except there's a man standing at the end of your bed staring right at you. Oh my god, what the fuck? You're terrified and your adrenaline spikes and you want to yell or run, but you can't seem to move or say anything and you're just stuck. Next thing you know, you wake up again when the sun is coming through the room and the man is gone, and it's just your normal room like you would expect. This phenomenon is called sleep paralysis, and it's fairly well documented across time and across many different cultures. It's also associated with a suffocating feeling on the chest or even alien abduction. None sound too pleasant. The scientific explanation has to do with sleep cycles. When people sleep, they alternate through REM and non-REM sleep, meaning rapid eye movement. In this deep sleep state, people dream and the mind paralyzes the body, presumably so you don't try to act out your dream. When sleep is interrupted, someone can wake up while still half asleep and dreaming, then find themselves unable to move or do anything at all, while a demon or ghost or whatever is standing a few feet away. When people have these experiences, they can be terrifying and create lasting impressions. You'd have a hard time trying to convince someone they didn't actually see a ghost if they were really shook by the event. Growing up, I knew this girl that was always trying to get us to do spooky occult spell stuff, and I usually refused because I was a good little church boy. One of her great ideas was that I should lock myself in the bathroom at night, turn off all the lights, look at the mirror, and say Bloody Mary 3 times. Then Bloody Mary would appear. I didn't know who Bloody Mary was, but this seemed like a really bad time, so I never did it. Now that I've been researching all these occult topics, I'm starting to get why some of these folk legends tend to persist over time. These legends tend to take place during nighttime, in a dark room, and that by itself actually explains quite a bit. Your eyes and mind are really good at detecting everything in your line of sight, and in a dark place where you're not getting a lot of stimulus, your mind will actually invent illusions that you'll see from nothing. People in solitary confinement will experience this, and also people who purposefully lock themselves in dark rooms for some reason. Your eyes and mind are also really good at seeing faces where there isn't any. This makes a lot of sense, since faces are really important in communication, and also good for survival in the ancient times if there was something like a saber-toothed tiger staking out a human camp at nighttime. So if I lock myself in the bathroom at night and look at the mirror, I'm going to hallucinate a face before too long, because I'm looking not only in the dark, but at the mirror, so I could see an illusion in the reflection as well. I'm thinking a lot of ghost sightings by ghost hunters are because of this. Not that they're making it up, but rather that their minds fill in the blanks in a dark room. I can see someone already mentally primed to see a ghost would attribute an illusion or even just a brief flash of something as a ghost.
After reviewing the footage, we discovered on one of our static cams what appears to be a figure moving right outside Lavinia's cell. Is this the ghost of Lavinia Fisher?
I believe this is the biggest piece of evidence we've ever caught on this show.
It's no good.
How do you think that's no good?
I mean, it looks just like maybe a car passing somewhere or something.
A car passing somewhere.
Could also just be someone walking outside. And that couldn't be any of us. There's no one down there at that time.
I thought you would ask that, so I synced up I synced up the timelines.
Yeah.
I know where we are in the building.
Okay.
I believe it's a ghost. We had all of the staff accounted for in front of us. Maybe there was a third staff member that they didn't know about that was walking around. I don't think so. Maybe a vagrant walked in. I think that's pretty solid evidence of a ghost. I think we caught something very, very solid here.
You know, it is exciting.
So, we've been talking quite a bit about seeing illusions when half asleep or at night when our brains aren't as focused. What about during broad daylight when we're wide awake and alert? Our minds can be tricked by someone skilled enough, like a good magician. Harry Houdini was one of the best magicians ever, famously cheating death in his escape stunts and doing things like making an entire elephant disappear. Yet, he never claimed to be supernatural, and he spent the later part of his life debunking psychics and mediums that were using the same fundamental tricks he was using in his acts. A lot of stage magic and illusion has to do with misdirection. Make the audience look at one thing, and then with a sleight of hand, make a change somewhere else. Obviously, there's more that goes into it than that, but that's basically the gist of it. Penn and Teller have their show Fool Us, specifically for trying to see if they can figure out how a magic trick is done. And while they're good at what they do, they don't always figure out the trick.
We didn't even know how you vanished the marker. So you, sir, fooled us.
If misdirection doesn't sound believable, like how can people be distracted so easily, the basketball awareness test comes to mind. If you've never seen it, you owe it to yourself to watch it. Just pause this here and watch the video in the description. Now, the first time I saw this, I felt real good about myself for getting the number of passes correct, and then I felt like a total chump for not noticing the gorilla just strutting across the screen. I noticed some vague black thing moving, but I wouldn't have said gorilla. Tricking viewers into focusing on the basketball passes and telling them they were being tested on it was enough to get people to not notice an entire chest-beating gorilla. It gets even crazier. A 2009 study of college students found that many of them that were walking across campus using their phones didn't notice a clown riding on a unicycle in broad daylight right in front of them. I absolutely cannot overstate how big of a deal this is. If there was a unicycle riding clown murderer on the loose with the same people in this video, they would claim under oath before court in complete honesty that they've never seen any unicycle riding clown before.
Oh, I was on my phone, wasn't I? Is that part of it? Yeah. No, I did not notice anything usual on the campus.
No.
No. No.
Turns out, our eyes and brains are really good at seeing things. Just not things that we're not looking for. What we now know as seizures in the past was attributed to demonic possession. If you've ever seen someone suffer a seizure, it actually makes sense why people would think this, and I could see myself potentially thinking the same thing. I have a family member that suffers from seizures, and if you've never seen it, it's actually really scary. Electrical signals in the brain fire excessively and not where they're supposed to, and the person becomes unconscious and starts seizing up on the floor, grunting. not a whole lot can be done except prop their head up and wait for it to be over. Then there's absence seizures, which apparently aren't dangerous in and of themselves. I once knew a kid that would have these. He would randomly stand prone with his legs wide, arms out, and his eyes would seem to double in size as they turned bloodshot red, and he gave a 1,000-yard stare, completely unresponsive for about 20 seconds until he'd snap out of it. Absence seizures happen because of electrical signals in the brain being stuck on loop like a scratched disc or broken record for my older viewers. In the past, these major and minor seizures might be explained as a demon or the devil himself possessing the person. You'll also hear the explanation of demonic possession for behavior, especially potential mental disorders like schizophrenia or bipolar disorder, where it seems like the person is acting like a different person entirely. You'll hear people described as possessed, or be talked about like what got into them, or that they have the devil inside them. Though most people probably won't jump to demonic possession to explain behavior issues, you'll still find those that do.
And when I was younger, she used to tell me, you gotta go confess you got the devil inside you. I was there every other week. And when we used to go to church, my mom used to take this cup and she used to get the holy water and she used to tell me, drink it. You got the devil inside me. I was a little kid, so I used to believe her. And if you haven't drank holy water, that shit is nasty.
Exorcisms by a priest are still done in the modern day with specific rituals and prayers and everything, though you hear about them less often since they've become more controversial after some high-profile deaths as a direct result, Anneliese Mitchell in particular. I'll just end this on the note that mental disorders and illnesses are difficult to deal with and scary, and that any kind of alternative treatment ought to be approached carefully and under the supervision of a medical professional. People say things like, "That's a bad sign," talking about omens, and you hear it all the time. How something seemingly unrelated is able to affect something else. With numbers also, for bad luck especially. Number 13 in America, number 4 in Japan, and the number 666. Here, Reddit user Lay Time Wizard got a 1-cent discount from Chick-fil-A, so the cashier wasn't cursed by the mark of the beast from his order total. If the comments on this post are to be believed, a lot of people seem to seriously believe numbers can be bad luck. Then we get into jinxes and don't jinx it, which you hear all the time. The things that we say somehow influencing an event. There's a specific phrase in sports commentary called commentators curse, and it happens all the time.
Be caught, I think it might be. Bevan doesn't drop him. Oh yes, he does. He dropped the thing. Well, he really looked as if he had that covered, and then it just popped out.
Let's really think about that. How often do players of any sport make mistakes? All the time. So it's inevitable that a commentator would praise someone for something, and then they immediately mess it up. I imagine this is the same reason why in theater they don't wish an actor good luck, because that'd be jinxing it, and the actors are told to break a leg instead. How many times do people make mistakes acting in a play after being wished good luck? Maybe every day. This leads into confirmation bias, which is a powerful mental effect. We tend to notice hits that confirm a belief and give them a lot more weight than examples that don't, usually when we already believe something. Now, are there times when something supposedly good or bad luck can cause an effect? Yeah, I'd say so. Especially if we believe something is good or bad luck, then that can make us nervous or give us more confidence. Then there's things like feng shui, rearranging a room in certain ways for good luck. I can see how room arrangement can affect a person's mental state and mood, especially getting into color theory and things like that. And some days we're straight up just lucky. If you've ever been running hot when gambling, you get every card you need at just the right time, and it feels good, man. So, does good or bad luck exist? Yes. No. Maybe. Depends. I'm all over the place on this one. I'll end this thought with a poker game, where both players had the best starting hand in the game going all in, but the commentator noticed one player having the lucky ace of spades, and then $1 million buy-in got pushed his way.
Connor Drynan also with aces.
Well, the edge here goes to Katz because he holds the ace of spades, Lonnie, the prettiest card in the deck.
It is indeed. So Drynan now wondering how exactly he wants to proceed with his pocket aces.
Fun fact for you, Lon, pocket aces is a favorite against every other hand in the deck except pocket aces.
On.
Call.
Bullets? Wow, you both have bullets. It's so sick.
Yeah? Yeah. There's the flop, 2 hearts.
Hearts.
Okay. Hey, I got a free roll. 4% chance.
You can breathe now.
You can breathe.
You can't.
If I lose like this, whatever.
Yeah, no. Kings.
Oh my God. It's another heart. This is getting serious for Drynan.
A river heart would give Katz the pot and knock Drynan out of the big one.
And now the river card. No!
I'm so sorry.
Drynan flushed out of this tournament.
$1 million buy-in wiped out in aces versus aces.
Wow.
Connor Drynan just became the answer to a wicked poker trivia question.
That's so sick.
Is brutal.
God, you wanted to do a chop, right?
Not anymore.
That might be the worst beat in the history of tournament poker. $1 million buy-in, 18 left, 15 million to the winner. Aces versus aces, and a flush knocks Connor Drynan to the rail.
So, what do you think? Do you think there's anything more to these phenomena? Or do you believe the paranormal explanation for any of these? Do you have any signs that you consider to be good or bad luck? I'd be really interested to know which people do believe and why. Your thoughts are always appreciated. This is Cyberpunk Ramblings. Take care of yourself, and I'll talk to you later. If you like this video, and you want to help me make more like it, click the like button so that the almighty algorithm will actually promote videos from a small horror channel. If you want to watch my new videos, you can subscribe. I post new videos every other Friday. Shoutouts to Reaper's Horror, Mia Mina, King of the Canadian Hill, and True Crime Files for leaving comments in my last video. Y2K went over my head when it was happening, so it's really fun for me to read everyone's thoughts. I see you, and I appreciate you.